Hello, welcome to the Flute 360 podcast, where we incorporate a panoramic view of flute-related topics. I am your host, Heidi K. Begay, and this is episode 101, an interview with Alexis Roman. Founded in Dallas, Texas in 1996, the Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company is renowned for its international service for flutists of all levels. The Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company is your premier resource for everything flute. Their selection of flutes, piccolos, low flutes, and head joints from dozens of makers is truly remarkable. Also, their offerings of sheet music, instrumental accessories, teaching and health resources are unmatched. Their in-house staff offer an unparalleled level of expert knowledge and personal service, with the repair staff certified in all major brands. Follow the Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company through Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr to be updated with the latest news. Check out their website at fluteforyou.com. The Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company is truly your one-stop flute shop. Welcome, everyone, to another Flute 360 podcast interview. Today, my wonderful guest is Alexis Roman, who is the newly appointed principal flutist of the Finnish National Opera. Welcome, Alexis, to the show.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Thank you so much for giving us your time, and I can't wait to pick your brain.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So what have you been up to lately? You're in Finland now.
Yes, I'm in Finland for more than 7 years now.
Okay.
And as you just said, that very recently I have been appointed to principal flute in the Finnish National Opera. So it's a very great news for me. A big change also in my career. So I'm looking forward to start there.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a huge accomplishment, and I know you're very proud.
Yes, it is. It is.
So how cold is it in Finland?
Well, usually at the time of the year in January, it's very cold. It can be minus 20, minus 25, minus 30 even. But this year is very strange because we almost don't have snow. It's like plus 2, plus 3. So it's very dark and not very nice at the moment, to be honest.
Oh, shoot. I just got back from Sofia, Bulgaria, and all the Bulgarians were telling us that it was a very warm winter.
Yeah, it is very strange in Europe this winter, and especially here in Finland, because, we are so much up north that the days are very short during the winter. So it's like 5 hours of day, let's say, between 10 and 3. And if there is snow, then there is a bit of light. But now there is no snow, so it's just dark all day.
Oh, man.
Yes.
I think you'd have to get out your oil paints to see color, just to throw in some yellow in your life.
Yes, I think you're right.
Oh, shoot. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if you're ready, I'd love to dive into these questions.
Sure.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Awesome. So you're one of the 5 guest artists who is invited to Tampere's Flute Festival held in April 2020. And so I think the role that you are holding, there are various roles, and you are an adjudicator, a performer, a clinician, and I know as a teacher and as a performer, jumping from one role to the other is quite an art. And so especially, you getting ready for April, I think it's really cool if we can pick your brain about, if another educator or performer out there is getting ready for a festival, how you prepare for such an event.
Yes, well, first of all, I'm very excited to be part of this new event. And I think it's very good also for Finland that there is this new flute festival coming. Because usually everything is very centralized in Helsinki and in the Sibelius Academy, for example. So I think I want first to congratulate Beatriz Macías for organizing this event. And then, of course, how to prepare this as an artist. I think, well, I don't really prepare in advance because it's these kind of things that I'm used to do. So teaching and playing and being in the jury, it's part of my almost everyday life. So I'm already experienced in those things. Of course, it will be quite. We have to be fast because it's only two days, so we have to jump from one role to another. But I think it's not so difficult to do, especially because, like, for example, I have 2 hours masterclass and then 1 hour recital, so it's not so much. I'm used to, for example, teach in Japan with Seiya Ueno in the summer academy every summer. And there it is much more what we have to do. So we are teaching all day, maybe like 8 hours a day. And then we perform almost every evening for the students. So we have like teachers' concerts almost every evening. So I think this festival in Tampere will be a little bit lighter for us. So it's all right.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad that you brought up the point of, an all-day event compared to maybe an afternoon. So when you have something in Japan and you do have to teach 8 hours and then play in the evening, how do you go through and have that endurance?
Very good question, because first time when I was there, like 3 years ago, I had no experience with these kind of things. So it was really, really hard, and I thought I will never survive. But, after like 1 week, 2 weeks, doing this every day, all day, we become like we are kind of not a machine, of course, we're still humans, but we don't think anymore. It's just like a routine. So we do it and we don't think, and we do it and then it's very good also for us because we see that we also release pressure that we put to ourselves. So it's just like something becomes very natural actually to do, and we become very open also in the mind to teach, because we have to teach like every 45 minutes different students. So you have to be very quick to change. Because all the students are different. So you have to be very, very quick and very open. So it was a very good experience. And now I know that I'm able to do that. I never thought I would be able to do such hard work, but it's very interesting in the end.
No, thank you. And that segues beautifully into the first question. Just being an educator and then being asked to be specifically a clinician at a flute masterclass, are there any tips other than the one that you just gave us?
I think most important is to always remember that each student is different. So we cannot teach the same way. We have to always adapt and have like different things to say or different ways to say it or different approach. Different exercise to give, and I'm like very intuitive teacher, so I don't have like really rules like how to do things. I just try to go in the brain of the student and understand where is the problem, what can I do to help. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to do usually, and. Then of course there is one thing that we also have to remember is that during a masterclass, or because sometimes you see only once the students, so you cannot solve all the problems. It's impossible. So we have to also be smart and maybe pick one thing that could be developed during this lesson and maybe give some other advice for the future.
No, I love that. Giving the one piece of advice, I'm assuming specifically you want to give them the biggest takeaway, something that could really help them in all areas.
Yes. Okay. Yes, but it can be also specific. Like, for example, if I see that someone has a big problem with a position, like how to, hold the flute, for example. And this can be actually something we can change very quickly, and we will see results very fast also in the sound, in the projection, everything.
Yes.
So it can be also very specific thing. and then maybe something more general for the future, so you can think later what to do to improve.
Mm-hmm. And I love how you said that you try to stay in the moment and be intuitive with each student because each student is different.
Yes.
Yes, there are a lot of master classes I've been to where the clinician almost becomes repetitive. And I get it, I totally get it. But if the same exercise is being said from student 1 through student 10, it can get a little boring in my perspective.
Yes.
So I really appreciate you saying, be in the moment and help that particular student with their specific needs.
Yes, exactly. I think that's the most important, because otherwise then you just write a book and you say that, okay, I know everything and do that and you will be great. But I don't believe in this. I think we are all different. So it's also, for me, when I was a student, I could see that I could learn from different teachers. I think they were trying to tell me the same thing, but with different words or different, perspectives. So that's how I could learn also. Not only with one teacher telling me that I know everything and you have to trust and follow what I say. So it's important to go to many teachers, I think, and learn different things. And maybe they want the same thing for you, but they would say it in different ways.
Yes. And then that's when the student makes the connections and connects the dots.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm curious, I'm going to go out on a limb. Have you ever been, since this is an international festival, have you ever taught a student at another festival where English or French or I don't know what other languages was not the common ground, and what you did in that particular case?
Yes, this is very interesting actually, because, for example, when I'm in Japan and I'm teaching there, we have translators, because most of the Japanese students don't speak English, so we need translator so that they understand. But at the same time, I think sometimes I don't want translator. Sometimes I think it's even more interesting to just try to explain, maybe without too many words, but also showing with the instrument. So then they understand more. Then it's maybe they would copy at first, copy what you do, but then of course it will become more natural for them. But I think the teacher has to be able to show with the instrument, not only talking, because with the instrument you can understand even more. And
it brings it to this whole international level where music is an international language. So what better way to describe or depict something through the music, which is the common language?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I was in Bulgaria and I was teaching some younger students at the academy, there was a translator. And I actually found with the Bulgarian translator, I had to at some point dismiss that way of teaching because not that it got in the way, but I found that I had to use less words.
Yes.
Because I had to get to the point.
Yes, and because also there is a barrier. If you have a translator, then it goes through the translator and then to the student. And I think it's better to have this direct contact with the students. They understand much quicker, actually.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. You're correct. The directness gets lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. I love it. So going into another role that you will have at the festival, you will be an adjudicator for the Young Artist Competition. And a little side note, the competition deadline is March 15th. So those young artists out there who are interested, check out the website because Beatriz has all the information through the website. So any advice for the adjudicators out there?
Well, to be in a jury as a jury member, I think, first of all, we have to agree between us, like jury members, what we are looking for. So on which criteria we are judging and what are the most important things we want to judge. So I think there are basic elements that has to be here, respect of the text, rhythm, instrumental technique, or these kind of things. And then, of course, dynamic, intonation, sound quality, all these things. But in the end, what we are looking for, I think, and we have to agree with the jury members, but it's more like the expression and the style and the personality of the candidate. So this is the most important, what we receive from as a jury member, what we receive from the competitor. And so this is for me what I'm looking for when I'm in a jury. I want to hear music. I want to hear a strong personality. I want to hear colors, and I want to hear many, many things. But we are not here to. We don't want perfection, like technical perfection, and anyway, it doesn't exist. But this is not interesting for me, that someone is perfect. I want someone who is unique, who has his own personality. So this is how I would judge, and we have to agree on that. But I think we will agree.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Just hearing the individual and the musical ideas coming through that performer. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious, you don't have to go into specifics because I don't want you to, say locations or names per se, but going into being a judge, are there some competitions that have like a scale that they want you to adhere to? Or do you get to be a little bit more free with your own way of scoring?
In general, it's quite free.
Okay.
Of course, we can discuss before, how we judge. Usually we give points or yes or no. It depends on the competition and on the round also. So maybe first round in a big competition would be just yes or no.
Okay.
And then we count the yes and the no. And then it's more like the points. But then we are all free to judge how we want. So what you think is the most important for you, you will put this first. But I don't know, maybe there are competitions where it's really clear, like a scale, okay, I give 5 points for the sound, 5 points for the rhythm, 5 points for intonation. But I think we are not machines. We are not, it's not a sport. It's not you're right or wrong. So it's very also subjective how you judge.
Yeah, thank you for that. I guess I was just going out on a limb and just kind of getting my head into the process or the different processes out there, because in Texas, when us educators judge for Texas all state or all region, they want it to be very mathematical, 5 points for tone, 5 points for rhythm. But then when you go elsewhere, probably at the more advanced level, when you have artists that you're listening to, that's probably when those criteria go out the window and you're actually just listening to the artistry.
Yeah, because I think in the higher level, we believe that all these basic elements rhythm, intonation, sound quality, all these things should be already here.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter so much. We don't give points for that. We give points for the personality, for the music, for if you are traveling when you are listening to someone. That's you have to be touched by someone. That's for me the most important thing when I'm judging.
I love that. Yeah, and it's good to notice those differences, just because there might be a young educator out there who just finished their bachelor's or master's degree and they're starting their career, and they might be asked to be a judge in maybe one or both situations, and you have to be able to adapt and, be ready to go.
Yeah.
Cool.
But at the same time, to be a judge is also very personal. We are all judging in different ways, I think.
Yes.
So you have to be yourself only, you just be yourself and judge with what you like, and that's it.
Yeah, no, that's beautifully said, and that definitely brings it full circle. Perfect. So now going into the role as a performer, of course, you're going to practice for the recital and get the repertoire ready. How else do you prepare?
Well, I'm very happy also about this small recital, because it's not a full recital.
Okay.
But because I'm going to play with a pianist, I'm playing always for my recitals. So András Szabó, he's a Hungarian Hungarian pianist living in Jyväskylä in Finland. So I'm very happy to be performing with him. And so it's also very easy for me because I know him, he knows me, so it's quite easy combination to play together. And we are going to play some nice French pieces. So I think I'm not very nervous about this. And yeah, we just play very beautiful music together and try to, give emotions, and that's it. So, well, nothing special about this recital. I think we just prepare it like we always do, rehearse and have fun. That's it.
Yeah, I love it. And I know it kind of seems a little silly that I'm asking such a general question because us flutists, especially the listeners who listen to this podcast, already know, well, yes, of course you're going to practice. So it seems like a silly question. But maybe in terms of programming, like how do you go about being an artist who programs music for this particular recital? Or, what are your thoughts on programming?
Well, I'm French. So I think in an international festival like this, it's also good to show this side, the French side of me, even if I'm living in Finland for almost 8 years. And before that, I was living 6 years in Switzerland. So, I'm not like 100% French anymore, I think. But still, this is my music, the closest music to me. So I think I can play it well, and it's interesting to see how people are playing differently with the style for this music. So like French music, if you hear it played by Japanese or from Russian or from American or for French people, it will sound different, the style. I think it's interesting to try to show how French people would play French music. I don't say that it's how it should be played, but it's like one way of playing it. And it's interesting when you're in an international festival to show this aspect of your playing, I think.
Yeah, no, play to your strengths. Why not, right? And I love how you said, you're French and, this is my forte, playing French music. And that reminded me of an experience I had. I don't remember when or where I heard him, but Jean Ferrandis, he played French music at a concert. And I remember it was such an experience for me or it impacted me so strongly because I remember being in my early 20s and thinking, that's how French music should sound. It just completely sounded differently from what I've heard Americans play it. And it's not that, one way is better than the other per se, but it just sounded more French to me. Yeah,
I had the same experience when I first came to Finland. And first week of work, we were playing some Sibelius music in the orchestra. And so it was first time I was playing Sibelius in Finland. Sibelius is a Finnish composer. So I always heard Sibelius played by other orchestras, but not Finnish orchestra. Okay, maybe on CD, but in the orchestra playing with the musicians from Finland. It was so big, the difference, and how people feel this music, and it's so natural for them. And I was really deeply touched and almost cried because it was so strong, the difference also in the intentions, how they play this music. It's so important for them to play this music. So I think there is always something when you play music from your own country, maybe you understand it a little bit better, or you want to give more because it's your own music, kind of.
I love it. And that also reminds me of Irina, who I cannot remember her last name, but she's
Stachinskaya.
Yes, thank you.
Irina Stachinskaya, yes.
Yes, she's a Russian flutist. And when I heard her play Prokofiev, I was blown away. And you could just hear the passion, and you could hear the culture, and you could hear the language, and you could see this Russian scenery in your mind. And it was just so impactful to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. So this is kind of a blanketed statement or a blanketed question, but do you have any last thoughts or any sentiments that you would like to share with the listeners? It doesn't have to be particularly with this festival.
You know, this afternoon I was watching sport. I don't know if you know this sport. It's called Biathlon. Biathlon, it's a mix of two disciplines. So it's cross-country ski and then shooting. So they have to shoot some targets in the middle of their skiing process. And so it combines those two sports. And it's very interesting sport because it relates for me to the music also, because you have to be, of course, strong and fast on the ski, but you have to be also very precise with the shooting. And also, for me, the most interesting thing is the mental part, because when you make a small mistake, then you get more pressure, and then it's very interesting to see all these athletes and sportsmen to see how they handle this pressure. And I think we can learn a lot from them. Because I would say that in our studies in the conservatories, we don't have this kind of mental coaches that we would need, because we are athletes, also musicians. We have to perform. We have to be always in good shape. We have to, sometimes, of course, we feel nervous, stressed, and we don't have all the tools when we study to prevent for the stress. So I think in the education, it would be very interesting to be more like athletes and have mental coaches and these kind of things, because it's really hard to be on stage sometimes, or to be in a competition, because we have to be the best, or these kind of things, which are not so. This is not music to be the best. It's not music to be a number one, or to fight against your colleagues or friends. So we should have, I think, in the education something about the mental coaching. It would be very helpful for the future.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And the more I get into playing, performing more, the more I realize that the mental side of it is so important.
Yes.
Yeah, and reading books. I mean, there are tons of books out there that can help. And I've noticed a lot of transformative coaches are coming out into this realm, like Nicholas Pallesen, and even maybe speaking to a psychologist or a training coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have actually. I did that. I went to a therapist for this, for the mental preparation. Actually, so this lady is also a flutist, and she's also athlete, and she's working also with athletes, and for the mental preparation. And I think it helps, of course, because you see new ways of preparing your audition or competition or just concert, and it's very interesting. And I think we should go more to see these people, because they know a lot, and we can get inspired by all this.
I'm so glad you brought that up. We focus so much on the other muscles in our body, being athletes, musician / athlete. We train the fingers, we train the tongue, we train the lungs, but the brain is a muscle too.
Yes, we have to train it too.
I love that.
Yes, and actually, it's the most important muscle maybe when we play, because it controls everything.
Yeah.
So, but you have to be able to control your own brain also. That's the most difficult, and it takes forever to actually control what you want to achieve. But little by little, we can learn, and it's possible.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing when you said that. Well, the brain controls everything, so we need to train that first, right?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
It's kind of like a horse, and bringing in the reins and pulling the horse this way and that way, so that way it can stay on the straight and narrow.
Yes, Yes, exactly.
Cool. Well, the last part of the interview, I do this fun little segment called Picks. Do you have a pick for today?
Well, just after this interview, I'm going to friend's birthday. Ooh. So I just baked a nice chocolate cake.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice also to do like cooking or baking, like something different than just music.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of food because, in Lyon, where I come from in France, we say it's the capital of gastronomy. So we have a lot of restaurants and very famous chefs. So since I'm a kid, and I just love all kind of food and wine and everything. So I cannot live without this. And if you want to eat well, you have to cook well.
That is true. So what kind of chocolate cake is it? Is there anything like walnuts or pistachios, or is it chocolate cake?
No, it's a very, very, very basic chocolate cake, but I know that my friends love it, so they asked me for it. And, the heart is melting a little bit, so that's best cake.
Yeah. Oh, I hope you have fun with your friends.
Yes, thank you.
So speaking of the brain, my pick for today is a documentary. You can find it on YouTube, and it's titled Decoding the Human's Brain. So check it out. It's, I think, an hour and 30 minutes, but it's so fascinating.
Cool.
Yeah. And they say, if I remember correctly, one of the scientists was basically saying that the human brain is one of the most intrinsic, puzzling things throughout this earth. Like, it's just like this amazing hardwired computer program and beyond. It's just, so it's cool to dive in to learn how the brain functions.
It is. It's amazing. I think we can never understand fully the brain, but step by step, and we can improve a lot with just knowing more.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I love it. So I will not keep you much longer because you have to eat chocolate cake and spend some time with your friends. Who wouldn't want to do that? That sounds amazing. Oh, shoot. Well, it's only 11:30 over here. So sometimes I like to have my dessert before the meal. So I might have to have like a little cookie or a snack and then eat, just because chocolate's on my mind now. I can't get it. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's all right. So, well, I'll let you go. And I so appreciate your time, talents, and energy. And thank you for letting me pick your brain and sharing with the listeners.
Yeah, thank you for having me today. And I hope you enjoyed.
Yes, I learned so much. And I tell all of my guests that after our conversations, I feel like I've read 5 or 10 books within our short time together. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Today's sponsor is brought to you by J&K Productions. Did you know that not only are they a production company for podcasts, but they are a recording company for musicians? Any musical recording needs that you may have, J&K Productions can fulfill that need. They have all the necessary equipment and expertise to record your next flute recording for college or graduate auditions, competitions, summer festivals, or a flute album. J&K Productions can record any setup imaginable, from solo flute, small chamber, flute and piano, and much more. Consider J&K Productions for your next recording project. Contact them at jkproductions.media. Thank you for listening to the Flute 360 podcast. For more information, please visit HeidiKBegay.com. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please rate and review in the iTunes store. Let's talk about flute.